From New Englandville studio, good morning and welcome to the midweek edition of the program Good Morning Salon for this week, where they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. Today now Wednesday, August 19, 2020. We where they bring you this Wednesday edition of the program Good Morning Salon. Musa Kamara na my name.
And Mina Mabel Kaba, good morning. Inside the program this Wednesday morning, the Inspector General of Police, Ambrose Michael Sovola say, then they work now for stop police, then for the use live bullets and other things then we then be done they use for control riots.
There will be news, where it not will be bullet. We dey try to get that because it will be repel and forestall peace and order na any given state situation.
One pandi lawyer them for Mohammed Kamarimba Mansari, Emmanuel Safa Abdullah don't ask the court for make judge and jury them be part of the alleged sexual penetration case against in clients. And today at the program, the spokesperson for the coronavirus response team, Solomon Jamiru, we can talk about how far the country they now pan the fight against the coronavirus.
Well, these and plenty other stories them day at the program for you, plus the management information system analyst at the Salon Road Safety Authority, Glenn Cole say, the biometric driver's license where the Salon Road Safety Authority don't introduce go make people tap for use fake driver's license. Members say they listen we live on the internet on www.radiodemocracy.sl, courtesy of Osiwa empowered by Africell, and self they listen we live from Radio Shalom 89.5 na Koinadugu and Falaba district. Same way so on Radio Malen 88.5 and Radio 1G 101.1 na Pujon district, Radio Kolente 90.5 na Cambia, Radio Moa 105.5 na Kailaun, and Voice of Karine na Kamakwe on 98.0. The program na Good Morning Saloon. You can be part of fun by way you can send text message to the number 0779819881. 0779819881 are the number for sending text message and be part of the program Good Morning Saloon.
The first issue we will look at the program this morning, as Fumble Talk and then parts of them don't begin for implementing mitigation resource-based conflicts and building resilience communities project na Moyamba district. Outside the project, they look inside issue them between community people and company owner them. The executive director for Fumble Talk, John Cocker, say, for make development be na Moyamba district, community people and mining company they need for work together. Well, it talk this for circa 2 days. Training way Fumble Talk all with some community development committee member them na Moyamba. Outside then go give them member ya sabi on community development. Cherno Jalo gets more and go reports.
The mitigation resource-based conflict and building resilience communities now one project where Fumble Talk may start for do inside 2019 for address the plenty jamot we can do between community people and company them where they operate and then different community them day. And Fumble Talk they presently implement this project now 2 districts them na the country, one na Pujong and Moyamba districts. And this project they target 4 chiefdoms them na them 2 districts here. And then 4 chiefdom them here, na Lower Banta and Upper Banta na Moyamba district, and self Maling and Mapele chiefdom na Pujong district. And as them they now implement these projects na 2 chiefdom them inside Moyamba district, make Fumble Talk when they decide for Gisabi to some community development committee member them, CDC na this district on community development, projects planning and management, and self financial budgeting. Who said the program director na Fumble Talk, Anthony Kroma, said the reason for this engagement now because them found out say community development committee member them now this district not only function proper and because of certain reason them.
So you get Naden chiefdom there, what they call community development committees. Within committees there, now then they handle their funds there. Them funds they are met, then they use them for support project that with the community they identify themselves. So we've done this now the third engagement. We don't get with them. We don't can do scoping study. We don't can look at the issues. The lack.
This one scoping study.
We find out say one the CDC committees there not they operate properly because one of communication, leadership structure, and also misunderstanding of even the roles we are supposed to play and the people themselves we they represent.
In continuity with this training, outside them go give them people also special sabi on community development skills, project planning and management, and self financial budgeting. That go help the committee member them for able bring development come in this street.
So this time here now we can train the committees, the CDC committees, for let them understand what's in our community development, what's in our project management, project planning, how to monitor projects, and also when they come up with project, how they go do budgeting, of project properly, because we get an example we have in the share just now of a project where costs really the real cost will be 200 million, but the project then they allocate 80 million for it. So people then feel say they don't mismanage the money. No, they don't mismanage the money, but they do wrong budgeting and we bring misunderstanding and the project stall. So now some of the issues and they want for can address, we'll get a manual we don't develop and train the committee members there. How for run the CDC?
We immediately talk for Sika this. The executive director for Farm will talk. John Coker say, for make development go happen in Moyamba district, the community people and mining company them need to work together as one.
We believe say a win-win situation. If the company and the community they work together, the company will able to do business well without much disturbance from the community. And the community will also benefit from the corporate social responsibility with the companies that really they invest in. You go observe, say, like Sarah Rutile, Vimetco, Sokfin, they all go tell you say they spend billions of leons as part of their corporate social responsibility. You talk to the ordinary man and go say they do nothing. But if you talk to the one that were actually involved, then go to say that they do a lot. So there is a disconnect. We believe, say, for make development really all water, then go for work together. Now like what man saying, a symbiotic relationship. You the benefits are the benefit. And I think that is really important. The people, they not be know that. Sometimes if you say that the company, then they do, or the company be feel to say, they can live without the people.
Inside the young talk, so member them na the community development committee, where we take part in this engagement. Talk about what in the makeup of this training, where Farm will talk don't can get to them.
Mary K. Miller, CBO for CDC program. This Farm will talk, it don't develop we. Because what will not be in Sabi, it don't make we run the Sabi. What in will be hidden, it don't pull an ado. What in actually where we the poor people them, where we not be know nothing. The money where them in they use, how them in they go monitoring, not been there and so on. But this Farm will talk don't make everything don't exposed to everybody. But the mining company actually then they damage we land. Then at the same time when they damage we land, even for make them come to don't talk with we good, they're not the drum.
Mina Lansan Anthony Bundo, Mina the youth rep, CDC, Upper Banta, Chiefdom Moyamba district. Well, it's so brilliant and timely, really, because Farm will talk the Kawan into this CDC system. You don't learn we a lot, and you don't expose we really. So really, they don't show you the way forward or go along with the CDC and the community development.
Then people also end up say, then go use this sabi they don't get from this training for bringing development come and then different chiefdom them. For the Society for Radio Democracy, me, Nacheng Jalo, the report.
7:39 at the time from the studio clock, and the program is still listening to now Good Morning Salon, where they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. We tell you now the program earlier today, we can look at how far Salon Day can the fight against the coronavirus. And now the studio, I want to welcome the spokesperson for the coronavirus response team, when Solomon Jamiru there this morning, they can give updates on how far the country they now pan the fight against the virus. Good morning and welcome to the program, Sir Jamiru.
Good morning, brother.
Well, if people can remember, after about 9 months now, where the coronavirus been starts now, China and Salon now about 5 months we will been get with first confirmed case, because now March 31st then they announced the first case where Salon been get. We know say country they only use different strategies them for ensure say they fight against the virus, and Salon self not left behind, because the spokesman there this morning for Council, we waiting and don't put so far in place as the fight to continue, and we see the numbers them don't they go down. But we want to know the status of the virus in the country now and how Salon don't they respond so far. As I don't tell listeners, Mr. Jamiru, we need an update on waiting don't they happen so far and the fight against the coronavirus and the stage where the country they now towards the response to the virus. But just start for remind we of the strategy them way Salone use for fight against the coronavirus, because every country gets within and thinks the best and workable for able for the virus. Usa we start.
Thank you very much, Mabel. Good morning, Mifambul. Well, we don't shift from the stage we call preparedness. Now we're in the response proper. And when we talk about preparedness, remember, as you mentioned, Wuhan, November, December, things were pretty bad in China. And when the virus be the ravage China, we activate what we call EOC, Emergency Operation Center, and we activate IPC, Infection Prevention Control Measures in Salone. At that time, they will be introduced what we call effective screening at the point of entry. And when the virus move beyond China and begin hit other continents, we begin for come back and revise with protocol. At that time, we take a decision, say anybody with the travel come Salone from any country with a record 50 or more positive cases will be subjected to mandatory quarantine. We don't move. We now in the response proper. We Famble member say we be record we first case March 31, and from that 10 day to now, we don't record 1,959 positive cases, what we call cumulative confirmed positive cases. We don't lost 69 people to the disease. We get 361 people at different isolation facilities. 1,529 people don't recover from this infection. We get 573 people in quarantines, all about, and 10,194 people don't finish them quarantine and don't walk out of quarantine. So we don't do a little over 23,000 tests nationwide. We don't set up what we call the command centers. Now all the districts, we know we get 16 districts in Salone. When these things start, the response will be the manager from Freetown, and eventually His Excellency the President begin to appoint district coordinators, and we make sure we decentralize the pillars in the response. So if you go to districts now, you go see case management, you go see surveillance, you go see labs, you go see risk communication, social mobilization, psychosocial operations. So we don't decentralize all them pillars and then at the district. Laboratory is one that is not as widely decentralized, because we know it's a very technical thing. You know, just the setup lab, so in different areas you get special standards we get for attain. But we make sure all the districts they're now in their hospitals then gets what we call specimen collectors. They can collect specimens from all the districts and take them to some central locations for analysis. Mabel, I will tell you, we are making a steady progress. We're not able to manage these things so far, but we also therefore acknowledge, we continue to get challenges where they define the response from one pillar to the other across the broad spectrum of the response. We continue to get challenges, but we continue to be encouraged by the fact that we get people and they always stand by we, both local and international. And indeed, now we responsibility for make sure we continue for deepen this fight. And at a time like this, maybe we now with the get picking in a school, Ministry for Basic and Senior Secondary Education, we don't announce 15th September for pre-primary and 5th October for primary, GSS, and SSS. This is such a delicate period for we all. So across the broad spectrum of the response, we continue to take this fight very seriously, and we continue to encourage with Sierra Leoneans to do the three most important things: the hand washing or hand sanitizer, the face mask, and the physical or social distancing. So this is just a picture of where we are at the moment, and we continue to fight this fight.
Earlier, we get about information about COVID in China. You talk about preparedness and modalities that have been put in place. For example, in the response stage, lock airports, and inter-districts lockdown, we get school then lock, and now we they go to normalcy again, like airport door reopen again. Speaking, you don't mention Minister of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, they talk about sleep picking and start for go school again. Now, what now the preparedness going back to these things that will be done bad?
Thank you very much. I want to be very careful, not for perhaps use the word normalcy. Rather, I go want for we try for create a sense of balance between achieving what we call either prevention or control of the virus, and striking balance between that and also trying for make we move on with our lives. Because no matter what, even with COVID, you also get this very serious dilemma: do we keep our kids at home
forever in such a way that it will impede the educational and other development, or we create some kind of conditions for them where we not go expose them to risk. Now that make I think say we get picking in a school so that they go able to achieve their educational aspirations. But you are right. I think this is a very important point we don't talk about so, because it will appear as if the impression is being created. First, we don't adjust the curfew. We don't lift the interdistrict restrictions. We don't resume congregational worship. We don't resume commercial flights. A lot of this they happen, so it's easy for somebody say, well, if all of those measures are being eased, those restrictions are being relaxed, then I think say we are either at the end of coronavirus or we should be beginning to celebrate the end of the virus. So we they tell people and say, the fact say we don't ease the measures don't mean say coronavirus done. So for example, if we take the educational sector, I think now one of the areas we don't mention, when the Ministry for Technical and Higher Education we announced a final year students for come tertiary institutions, take the exams, and eventually then go open up to the other categories of students. We agree with the Ministry for Higher and Technical Education for come up with health and safety measures. Will be rolled out, and we ask school authorities, school administrators, teachers, and parents and guardians, caregivers, say, make we all work together. Yes, we pick and go back to tertiary institutions, and also the term way Ministry for Basic and Senior Secondary Education bring Pekin and Kana School for sit to WASC and Beke. Now the same arrangement we get. So at this point, we will consider for be very delicate. We all get this collective responsibility for keep we picking them safe in and out of schools and tertiary institutions. So NACOVAC has a responsibility, the ministries get responsibility, we parents and caregivers get responsibility, and the picking themselves within a school for make sure say that they discuss among themselves. We believe say at this time na very delicate exercise, and we all for work together for make sure say we will not expose them to unwarranted risks.
You talk about the three most important things and what you say na den thing and they wanna really want for let people they practice so that the virus no go continue for scatter. We get for do with hand washing, face mask, and the social distancing. In terms of the response, then three way you make mention of, so I just call. Also one of the greatest challenge when I get any one of them three in terms of people joining now for the response towards the virus.
It's difficult for say you they achieve one over the other. I say this because the hand washing, the face mask, and the social distancing, nothing we will all consider for being new normal for our society. Hand washing hygiene, nothing we maybe I should say we all be in a school and they teach we. But how many people be really they do them the way they're supposed to do them? I think so now until we get coronavirus, now we really don't popularize this. So first, we got to accept say then three constitute what we call a new normal. And we study don't show say in poor countries, in countries like Salone, and when you look at Africa, across Africa and other countries in Asia and other places, we find out say it is such a difficulty. I remember they go through the South African study. Very beautiful and wonderful things them way President Cyril Ramaphosa they do in South Africa in terms of IPC. But then self-acknowledge say social distancing, this face mask thing, this hand washing thing. Now one of the areas where they get fundamental limitation. So in Salone, we therefore acknowledge and we therefore be very sincere about them. Sometimes because we get a lot of poor community, like you go in a slum, how do you achieve social distancing, for example? You look at with schools. Almost school day where you go really get like 50 picking them in a classroom and get them for maintain strict social distancing. So a lot of them problems be done there. And maybe if you find out, in September last year, Nine government will launch the 5-year health security plan. 2 months after that, the virus starts in Wuhan. So it appears as if we get little or no time for really begin to implement the health security plan, build on the infrastructure, get highly trained personnel across the health workforce and other frontline workers. Now in this virus hit we. So we don't get any challenges there. So I go tell you, say, in terms of hand washing, face mask, and social distancing, we continue for the talk to people and engage communities for make we see them 3 important practices as very important in infection prevention and control. I think so with the build up, because if you look at the compliance, we are not where we are supposed to be, but I think say we are able for scale up on a daily basis.
Because the reason why I asked the question of which one are they get the greatest challenge for let people able for use towards the response gets for do with the time way suspension been there on places of worship, schools them closed, and self public gathering and been reduced the number of people wait for the gather as to people responding to the virus. But the side way will not be ever like able for get this teaching them be done and ensure see people and do implement them laws and they get to do with the marketplaces. Now we see the numbers and don't they go down, but still these people where they go to marketplaces, if you look most of waiting you don't talk about student teaching here, it hardly happen at the inside in the how concerned una be towards the fight and people where they go to marketplaces.
Maybe I go tell you, say, if in a population of over 7 million people, you get one person where they go out and all they wear face mask, we're concerned. The same way if you get one district to record 5 positive cases and you get another district which until record 1, they take the 1 as important as we take the 5. So for we really ideally we go on for see everybody they wear face masks. So yes, the marketplace is also one of the concerns. The same way we don't be concerned also about people the way they get on a beach and other places where they cluster. So that perhaps not just one of the examples of the challenges, but maybe I think say it achievable. These are things that we can do. Because I think the we don't sit down. I remember the last time the mayor was with us, the tell the corporate, we talk about how we go achieve social distancing models for we marketplaces. That part of the thing where the operations pillar we meet on about 48 hours ago for try for finalize some things for intensively get into marketplaces. Because marketplaces form part of what we call public space, where even they now the enhanced measures will pull out. So yes, it's one of the areas where they look at strongly, and let's see what's going to happen in the coming days. Let's see how we go intensify this one.
In the coming days, what's going to happen when not happen yet in the past 5 months, when a different thing?
Well, now that we don't come up with the enhanced measures, and now we don't say in public spaces, for example, now one of the areas where if you're in default of the enhanced measures, then you go get for pay a fine. I think say now that the operations, they don't train themselves, they don't bring out the people who they enforce them, and they don't get training, and now then they go out into the communities. I believe say with this enforcement, we will see a lot of changes.
We don't see like when the lift ban or before government lift ban on any suspension we been done it before. Then we don't say NACOVAC, they don't submit then social distancing and other preventive measures to NACOVAC for ensure say they able to watch them and make sure say they go back to what thing they do like for go worship and open airport and other things them. How will they monitor them plans and where people be don't give una say now this will go by if una allow we do this?
So if we take the example of places of worship, first at the level of the presidency, engagement be done there with the Interreligious Council, and then we submit some proposals where government be favorably consider. We discuss them thoroughly, and out of that they will be therefore come up with guidelines or roll out for resumption of congregational worship. One of the things we'll agree on in the guidelines now that every place of worship forget in your internal compliance committee. You don't necessarily need for wait for NACOVAC or any DICOVAC in the district for come and tell you say ABC. Go strictly according to the guidelines we will get. And get your own committee, now your own mosque, now your own church. Make sure say the important things that we don't agree on, you're able to implement them at your place of worship. That is one. We also we don't agree, say we'll get for the continue for the meet at some point, for engage, for assess what don't happen so far, who side the strengths then they, who side